The kettlebell clean is a great exercise, especially for transitional stuff. So going from the ground to the rack position to presses to squats. But there are some technical issues that we have to make sure we address. So the first thing we have to make sure we understand is the rack position. So whether you decide to come a little internal rotation or if you want to stay relatively vertical, it's up to you. I prefer vertical, so that way I don't have to transition too much before I make that next move, whether it's a bent press, a press, or something else. If I'm going real heavy, that bell's gonna have to come in. But otherwise, we're gonna have a nice straight wrist. The bell's gonna sit right in between the bicep and the forearm, and I just wanna get comfortable in this position. If that feels good, let's do the other side. And with this is going to be a new stimulus for most people because they're so used to having a very evenly balanced tool like a barbell or a dumbbell. If it's in one hand, typically a dumbbell, and the weight's going to be evenly distributed on both sides. With this now, the bell is pulling me to one side, so automatically my flexors are having to engage so much more. So that's going to be awkward in and of itself. If you're brand new to kettlebells, use a wrist guard, use something just so you don't have so much tension right on the forearm at first. Once that feels okay, then we can start adding in some movement. So this is where something like a cheek curl can be very beneficial because all we're learning here is the bell rotates around the forearm and I have a loose grip. So with this kind of loose grip, that bell will make sure that it doesn't go end over end. So we're trying to avoid what most people do with the kettlebell, especially when they go into cleans, is just pull, grip it and rip it and let that bell land on the forearm. So we want no momentum, slow and controlled. Let that bell rotate around the forearm. I can add a little bit of a hinge. I can go a little bit lower. I can add more distance. I can start to add more speed, but I want to make sure that my client understands that the bell is not coming up end over end. Once we've gone there, then we'll go into an assisted hang clean, and that's where we'll stop on this video. So from here, all I'm going to go is my wrist right at knee height. I'm going to drive explosively through the ground without getting into triple extension, just keeping my feet flat on the ground. And I'm going to drive, stand up nice and tall. Once I've gotten to that full hip extension, so I'm relatively vertical, that's when I'm going to pull and then catch the bell with the other hand. Control on the way down, so no jerking on the elbow. Pull, catch with the other hand. And notice how I'm keeping my back relatively straight, driving through the ground, standing nice and tall, right back down. So maintaining all the same components, nice rack position, nice loose grip, bell rotating around the forearm, all those pieces that will lend itself to a nice clean. So if you like kettlebells as much as I do, check out this next video.